My phone blared with an emergency alert, the sound sharp and insistent. Emergency alert, avoid contact with fog. This is not a test. Stay indoors. Do not attempt to travel. I froze. My eyes stuck to the screen, reading the words over and over, trying to make sense of it. Fog? What fog? There's nothing out there. I glance out the window. The street is clear. Nothing out of the ordinary. The sun is still shining. The trees sway like they always do. No fog. Nothing to worry about. But why the alert? Why now? What's happening? Why would they send an alert for fog? This doesn't make sense. I scan the street again. Clear. Just like every other day. No fog. So why? My phone buzzes again. Same message. Same warning. I feel my chest tighten. I look outside one more time. The world is normal. But everything about this feels wrong. The alert, it doesn't fit. It doesn't belong. Something's happening. But I can't understand it. I need to know. I need to understand. I sit back, staring at the phone in my hand, as the quiet outside stares back at me. House arrest. It's been my life for the past few months. Days blend together in a haze of boredom. I wake up, stare out the window, and watch the world go on without me. Friends are out there, living their lives. College plans, new beginnings. I'm stuck here, locked in, with only this stupid ankle monitor to remind me of how far I've fallen. The routine is monotonous. Every day is the same. Wake up, eat, watch the neighbors. The world continues its rhythm, but it feels distant, like I'm a ghost watching from behind glass. My room's a mess. Clutter, books piled up that I never get around to reading. Old homework, empty coffee cups, clothes tossed aside. It's a mess I don't care to clean up. It's a mess I've given up on. Through the window, I see the same old things. Kids skateboarding down the street, dogs barking in the yard, the sound of a neighbor washing his car, just like every other Saturday morning. Everything is normal. But it's not. It's too normal. Everything outside is moving, while I'm stuck. The fog? It's not a normal part of my day. It's different. Something's coming. I don't know what it is, but I feel it. I can sense it in the air, like something's waiting to happen. The worst part isn't the monitor, though. It's not the feeling of being trapped in this room. It's what happens next. What happens when the world around me changes? The fog, it's more than just weather. It's something else. Something's coming, and I can feel it. Something's coming for all of us. The phone buzzes again. Same sound, same emergency tone. I almost don't want to check it. I know what it says already, but I do anyway. Emergency alert, avoid contact with fog. This is not a test. Stay indoors. This isn't a joke. It's not just some system glitch. There's something real going on. The TV's blaring the same message. It's all over the news now. Strange fog reported in the surrounding areas. Something's happening. Something big. And it's coming closer. The screen shows footage from other places. People reporting the fog, talking about how strange it is, how it moves wrong, how it's affecting everyone. I look out the window again. Nothing has changed, but I can feel it. The air feels heavy now, thicker somehow. It's still warm, but something about it's off. It's like the atmosphere itself has changed, like it's preparing for something. Then I see it. The fog. It's not far away anymore. It's on the edges of the neighborhood, creeping in. Moving slowly at first, but there's something wrong about it. It's not drifting like normal fog. It's pushing forward, like it's got a mind of its own. Like it's being pulled here. I feel a shiver crawl up my spine. The fog's closer now. But it's not just the fog that's strange. It's the way people are acting. The Anderson kids, who usually spend hours practicing their skateboard tricks in the driveway, are standing still, looking around like they don't know what to do. Mrs. Patterson, she always walks her dogs at 7:15 a.m., without fail. But today? She stopped in the middle of the street, just standing there, staring at the sky. It's not like her at all. She never stops. Not even for a second. But now? She's frozen. After a long moment, she turns and walks back to her house, the dogs following her. There's a tension in the air, something I can't put my finger on. The world outside is shifting, changing, and I don't understand it. The fog's moving in, and I can feel it. But it's not just the fog. It's everyone around me. They're changing. The fog isn't just an obstacle. It's more than that. It's making things happen. It's pulling people into itself, and I can't tell if it's just fog, or if it's something worse. Something much worse. The fog is getting closer. I can see it creeping down the street now, thick and unnatural. It moves in patches, and I don't know how to describe it. It's like it's not just the weather. It's something else. I can feel the weight of it pressing against my window, and I can hear it, softly at first, but louder now, like a low hum vibrating in my chest. It's so wrong. The air feels heavier, thicker than it should be. It's not just the fog, it's everything. The world outside seems to be holding its breath, waiting for something. Waiting for what, though? I turn back to the window and keep watching. The Anderson kids, the ones I've known since I was little, the ones who used to be out there skating all day, they're gone now. I look at their house. The lights inside are off, and their skateboards, which were always left scattered across the driveway, are now neatly lined up in a row. They should be outside, practicing their tricks, getting better. But they're not. They're just gone. I keep watching, but something's different about everyone. My neighbors are acting wrong. Not in a way you can point out easily, but in the way their movements feel off. Like they're walking too stiffly, or stopping without a reason, or staring off into nothing. It's like they're not themselves. Not really. The man who lives 2 doors down, he was walking to his car like he always does, but this time he stopped halfway. He just stood there, in the middle of the sidewalk, staring at the sky. It was as if the fog had a hold on him, and it was pulling his attention away from everything else. He didn't move. Not for a minute. Not even when I watched from the window. And then there's Mrs. Patterson, the lady with the golden retrievers. She's always been out early, walking them at exactly 7:15 in the morning, rain or shine. But this morning, she stopped. Just like everyone else. The dogs, usually running ahead, stopped, too. And then she turned back toward her house, her dogs following behind her, no longer pulling her down the sidewalk. Something's happening. I don't know what, but I can feel it. I'm not the only one who sees it. Everyone around me, my neighbors, the people I've known forever, they're all starting to change. The fog isn't just rolling in, it's changing them. Changing us. I hear a knock on the door. It's Jack. My best friend. He's always been the guy who kept things normal. He's been here for me through everything. The one person who hasn't let me feel completely alone. But today, he seems different. He stands there at the door, and when I open it, he looks at me with these eyes. Eyes that aren't the same. They're distant, unfocused, like he's somewhere else entirely. He smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes. "Hey, man," Jack says, but his voice, it's not the same. It's flat. There's no excitement, no life behind it. Just emptiness. I can't even make out if he's trying to joke or be serious. I want to ask him what's wrong, but something tells me he won't answer the way I want him to. Everything all right? I ask, not sure if I want to hear the answer. Yeah, he says, but he doesn't make eye contact. Just thought I'd check in on you. I stare at him, and something in my gut tells me there's something more going on. He's not acting like Jack. The Jack I know wouldn't just show up at my door without any kind of energy, without even a real reason. He wouldn't just stand there, like he's lost in his own world. But that's what he's doing. I try to say something, but the words don't come. Instead, I watch him for a second longer. His hands are trembling, just slightly, but I can see it. It's like the fog is already inside him. He's different. Before I can say anything else, he turns and walks off. No goodbye, no anything. Just a strange, empty wave and a distant look in his eyes. I stand there at the door for a while, not moving. Something's wrong. This isn't just the fog, it's them. It's everyone. They're changing. And I'm scared. I'm scared of what's happening, of how fast it's happening, and of what might come next. I sit down at my desk and try to clear my head, but it's useless. My thoughts are scattered, and I can't focus. I try to think back to what I was doing before all this started. Before the alerts. Before the fog. Before everyone around me started acting like they weren't themselves. But it's hard. It's hard to separate what's real from what's not. Everything is blending together now. The fog outside is still creeping closer, and I'm not sure if I should be worried about the world outside or the people I'm living with. I keep thinking about Jack. His face. His eyes. It's like I don't know him anymore. It's like someone else is inside his body, wearing his skin. I can't shake the image of him standing there at the door, looking lost. His smile, so hollow. His voice, flat. He wasn't Jack. He couldn't be. But I don't know how to fix this. I don't know what to do. I just keep watching, waiting. The house is quiet, too quiet. It's like the silence is pressing down on me. I can't get rid of the feeling that something's wrong, something I can't explain. Everything around me is changing, everyone around me. Mrs. Patterson's dogs aren't barking anymore. The Anderson kids have disappeared. They're not even in their house anymore, and their skateboards are gone. The entire neighborhood is shifting. People are becoming strangers. It's not just the fog. I don't think it's just the fog anymore. It's something else. The fog is making everyone act differently. It's like it's controlling them, pushing them to do things they wouldn't do. Maybe it's me, maybe I'm the one who's seeing everything wrong, but I don't think so. I'm not imagining this. I know what I'm seeing. The worst part? It's happening to me, too. I feel it. The air in the house is heavier now, and I can't breathe the same way. I feel like I'm being suffocated, like the fog is already inside, changing me, too. I thought I was different. I thought I was immune to all of this, but now, I don't know anymore. I look around my room, trying to focus on something, anything. The walls are closing in, and I can't stand it. I have to get out. I have to leave. But I can't. The fog is everywhere, and the door feels like a prison now. There's no escape. And if the fog is really changing everyone, then what's left for me? What happens if it changes me too? I'm stuck in this house, trapped by the fog. But the worst part is that I don't even know if I'm stuck anymore. I'm starting to wonder if I'm already changed. The fog has spread now. There's no escaping it. The government is trying to control the situation, they say. I've heard the broadcasts. Military vehicles roll through the streets. Uniformed men and women walk with purpose, trying to reassure everyone. They say the fog's under control, that there's nothing to worry about. They tell us to stay inside, that it will pass. They tell us to stay calm. They tell us they're working on a solution. But I don't believe them. Something's off. I'm watching the news when I catch a glimpse of a report that doesn't match the others. There's a man in a suit, speaking to a crowd of reporters, giving vague assurances about the situation. It's a temporary inconvenience, he says. But there's something in his eyes, something in the way he speaks. He's not convincing anyone. Not even himself. And then I hear the inconsistencies. The conflicting reports. One news outlet says that the fog is moving as predicted, but then another says it's behaving unpredictably. One moment it's contained, and the next, the fog seems to spread faster. The military's presence on the streets is growing, and every time I see a patrol car drive by, they're too tense, too serious. The calm they project doesn't match the fear in their eyes. They're not controlling this situation. They're covering it up. The worst part? I know they're lying. The more I watch, the more I feel the weight of it, the more I see the truth slipping through the cracks. They don't have control of the fog. It's spreading faster than they say. The government didn't plan for this. I need to know what's really going on. So I do what I've been avoiding. I start searching. I dig through my father's office, a place I haven't touched in months. I sift through his old papers, his books, anything that might give me answers. That's when I find it. A file. Hidden in the back of the drawer, tucked behind his work reports. It's marked with a red stamp, classified. Eyes only. I pull it out, and the weight of it sends a chill down my spine. I open it carefully, scanning through pages filled with technical jargon. But one word catches my eye. Wildflower. It repeats over and over again. I keep reading, and as I do, my stomach drops. The Wildflower Project. A biological agent designed for rapid human adaptation, designed to trigger an immune response in the body. It was never supposed to spread. They created the fog as a test. A test to push the limits of human change. To see how the body would react under pressure. To see how far they could push us, control us, make us adapt. But they didn't expect it to go this far. They didn't expect the fog to evolve. And they didn't expect us to fight back. I keep reading, my hands trembling. The more I learn, the more I realize they knew. They knew this was coming. They knew we'd change, and they knew the fog would spread. They wanted this. They wanted to see how far it would go. To push us to our limits. To control us. I lean back in my chair, trying to process what I've just learned. I've spent so much time trapped in this house, waiting for answers, but the truth is worse than I ever could have imagined. They used us. They used us as guinea pigs, testing their experiment on people like me, people who were tagged and watched. The ankle monitor, it wasn't just a punishment. It was part of the plan. It was their way of tracking who would survive and who would change. The truth is staring me in the face, and I feel sick. I can't believe this. I never wanted to believe it. But now I know. They wanted this to happen. The fog isn't stopping. It's still here, moving closer with every passing minute. It's changing everything. It's changing people. I can't sit still anymore. I have to keep watching. I look out the window. The street is empty. The air is thick with fog now, and it's moving faster. I see Mr. Thompson, the neighbor who's always kept to himself. He's out there. But he's not himself anymore. The fog has gotten to him. He's standing in his driveway, his eyes wide, his body stiff. He's shaking. Not from the cold, not from fear, there's something else inside him now. I watch as he twitches, jerks, like he's fighting for control. But the fog is winning. The fog is inside him now. And then he moves. Slowly at first, but with more force. His body isn't moving right. His arms are stiff, like he's not in control. His hands are trembling, but his feet move in an unnatural way, like he's walking on a string, being pulled forward by something I can't see. And I realize, he's not Mr. Thompson anymore. He's something else. Something changed. He stumbles across the street, his movements jerky. I can't take my eyes off him. I don't want to. I don't want to believe it, but I have to. This is real. The fog is changing us. The fog is making people act like monsters. I'm trapped here. Trapped in this house, trapped by the fog. And I can feel it. The fog's coming for me too. It's coming for all of us. I stand there, paralyzed, watching as Mr. Thompson gets closer to the Andersons' house. He's walking to their door. The same door he's always waved at me from. But now, there's no wave. There's nothing. He's just a shell of the person I used to know. His body jerks and twitches, like he's struggling to keep himself together, but it's useless. The fog has already taken him. I hear a loud bang. The door of the Andersons' house shudders as Mr. Thompson slams into it. He doesn't stop. He slams it again, harder, and I can hear the wood cracking. His movements are getting more erratic, more violent. And then, I hear a scream. It's Mrs. Anderson. She's screaming. I can't stop myself. I run to the window, but by the time I get there, it's too late. Mr. Thompson has already broken through the door. The scream stops suddenly, replaced by a low growl. A sound I've never heard before, a sound that chills me to the bone. The fog is everywhere now. It's thick, almost solid, moving with purpose, rolling through the street, creeping toward me. I feel it in my chest, pressing down on me. It's closing in, and I'm running out of time. I can't stay here anymore. I can't hide from it. It's coming for me, too. And when it gets here, I don't know what will happen. I grab my coat and head for the door, but I freeze when I hear the beeping of the ankle monitor. The signal's getting stronger, the beep louder, more insistent. I can feel the pull of it, holding me back, keeping me here. The fog is getting closer, and I'm stuck. The fog, it's not just coming for them. It's coming for me too. And I'm stuck here. The fog is closing in, thicker now, faster. I'm watching it creep toward me from my window, the low, unnatural hum getting louder. It's like the world is being consumed by it, piece by piece. Every second feels like a countdown to something terrible. I can't breathe. I can't stay here. The military's still out there. They say they've got everything under control. But I don't believe them anymore. I can hear the orders they're shouting outside. They're looking for people, looking for us. Looking for anyone who's not changed yet. But what if they're the ones who caused all of this? What if this is all part of their plan? They've been lying from the start, and I don't know who to trust anymore. I stare at the door. The house feels like a cage. The ankle monitor beeps louder now, its sound ringing in my ears. Every time I move, it reminds me where I am. Reminds me that I'm not supposed to leave. That I'm not supposed to break the rules. But what's the point of staying inside if staying means dying? I can hear the beeping. The damn beeping. It's like it's daring me to make a choice. To make a decision that could change everything. I can't stay here. I can't. I grab my jacket, my breath quickening. The air's so thick, so heavy, it feels like it's pushing me down. I don't know what I'm walking into, but I don't have a choice. I pull the door open. My heart slams against my chest as I step out into the thickening fog. The moment my foot hits the grass, I feel the weight of it all. The monitor's beeping faster now, the loud alarm echoing in my mind. I break into a run. The world outside is changing, but I don't stop. I dodge the military trucks driving by, their officers scanning the streets. My legs burn, my chest tightens, but I don't slow down. I can't. Not when the fog is right behind me. I glance back over my shoulder, and for a split second, I think I see someone, maybe someone I know, moving in the mist. But I don't stop to look. I can't afford to. The beeping's getting louder. The monitor is calling out for me to stop, for me to turn around, but I won't. I keep running, farther and farther, until the fog is almost here, closing in. And then it happens. I hear the voice of someone I know. Someone familiar. It's Jack. But it's not Jack. The words don't match the tone. His voice, it's flat, lifeless. It's almost mechanical. Stop. Turn back, he says, but I know it's not him. The fog has already gotten to him. He's changed. And now he's hunting me. I hear the footsteps behind me. The sound of my name, whispered, like he's not even sure who I am anymore. The monitor's still beeping, still demanding that I stop, but I push myself harder, my body aching. I'm almost at the checkpoint. I make it past the military checkpoint, but I'm not alone anymore. As I push through the fog, I see movement. Shadows flickering in and out of view, figures moving quietly in the mist. My heart races, not from fear, but from the unknown. The fog is everywhere, but there's something else. These people, they're different. They're like me, but they're not. They've been changed, too. But not like the others. They're still themselves. And they don't have that look in their eyes. That look that says they're already gone. I don't know where they came from. Some of them look like they've been hiding. Some are older. Some are younger. But they're all immune to the fog's effects. And I can't help but wonder why. Why are they different? What makes them immune? And why am I here, with them, now? One of them, a woman who looks like she's in her 30s, steps forward. She's calm, composed, unlike the panic I feel racing through me. She stares at me for a moment before speaking. "Are you immune too?" she asks, her voice steady, like it's not the first time she's asked that question. I nod, unsure of how to answer. I can feel the weight of the fog pressing in from all sides, but there's something else about this group. They're different. They're survivors. We all are, the woman says. But it's not just about surviving. We have something they want. We have something they can't control. I'm not sure if I understand, but I don't ask. I'm too focused on the fog, too focused on what's happening to everyone around me. The woman introduces me to the others. Each one has a story, a background. Some were in the military before this happened. Some were scientists. Some just ordinary people who got caught in the middle. But all of them share one thing: they're immune to the fog. And they don't know why. But I do. I've been feeling it for a while now. The fog isn't just about turning people into something else. It's about something bigger. Something darker. The government created this, and they didn't just create it by accident. This fog, it's testing us. It's testing our limits. They wanted to know who would survive. Who would change. And who would stay the same. I'm not like them, I say quietly, to myself. I'm not changing. Why? Why me? But they don't answer. They don't have to. They already know. We don't have much time. The fog is still rolling through the streets, and the military is getting closer. They know we're out here. They're looking for us. They've been hunting us for days. But they're not looking for survivors, they're looking for people like us, people who are immune. And they're going to do whatever it takes to control us. We find an old, abandoned building to hide in. The group huddles together, making plans, talking strategy. They've been on the run for a while. They know what it takes to survive. And they know what we're up against. But there's something I need to know. I need to know how we stop this. How we stop the fog from taking over everything. The woman, the leader of the group, shows me a file. It's old, worn. It looks like it's been passed around too many times. And inside? The truth. The government created this fog, this experiment. They called it wildflower. And they never intended for it to get out of control. But it did. They knew this was going to happen, I say, my voice trembling. They knew we'd change. They wanted this. The others don't argue. They don't say anything. They already know. The government's been lying to us the whole time. But there's nothing we can do about it. Not yet. Suddenly, we hear the sound of footsteps. Loud, urgent. The military is here. They're closing in. They've found us. It's time. We can't run anymore. As we prepare to face the military and the fog closing in, I can't shake the question in my mind. What will we be when it's all over? The fog surrounds us now, and we're no longer running. We're standing our ground, ready to fight, ready to survive. But the truth is, I'm scared. We all are. And there's no telling what happens next. But what about you? If you were in my shoes, what would you do? Would you trust the government, or would you fight back? Would you give in to the fog, or would you try to escape like I did? And what do you think is really happening with the fog? Is it a government experiment gone wrong, or is there something even darker behind it all? Let us know in the comments. Your thoughts could be the key to understanding what happens next. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates as we try to survive the fog and uncover the truth.